So now we're sitting. Where's the creek? The creek is right there. We're about right here. So this is all pre-camering up, outcrop right behind us right here. And you can see the Casper with those red and white telltale beds right in the knob. That's the knob we were just looking at. And Lone Tree Creek, we just drove right by it. So it looks like the creek is flowing there about the same as it is over by the springs.
Is that the green line there?
The creek is the green line in the valley. Yeah. Right. Right. But what you get a sense of is how far west you are now of the sinks and where that Casper outcrop is relative to this. So you know that Casper outcrop comes down and comes all the way back here. That's over 1.5 miles. I mean, these are sections. That's a mile.
These are the domestic wells, the houses.
No.
Or.
No, we're sitting right here on the creek. Actually, just above it. The creek is down here. Okay, and we're up here. This ridge right here is right behind us right here. So the Casper outcrop goes from that far ridge where the power poles are and stuff, from where you see the red and gray bands over there, and you can see that one house. You see the one house up on top. That is the subdivision.
Okay.
They've got to be pulling water from the Casper because they're sitting right on it.
Okay.
And then all the way back, that ridge all the way back to the east, that's got to be all Casper.
Okay.
And that's this ridge right here. So if I orient this, it might make more sense. So you see where we are, here's the creek going that way. We're right here, and we're looking at that ridge of Casper going right up now. So where we were standing before was way over here.
And we drove from here to here, and now we
there, came all the way around, and we're just looking at this piece going back that way. So you get a big sense of how much this is offset this way relative to the rest of what's Casper out here. So when we talked about that salient, how this has been moved out.
Because of the fault?
Well, when this was moved out, you got the fault underneath you over here. Get the structure map. Fault underneath it. That fault, this block moved up on that fault.
Okay.
So it literally ramped up on this fault like that. And then this Casper just wrapped around it. It came with it, followed it, wrapped it. And then the question is, where is the bottom of that? Where does that fault that's underneath this block end? Somehow it plays with, and this is why I thought initially this might be a separate compartment from this, because of this fault and this. I thought that might be a separate block. So when we plot up the water level data and everything says it's going that way and it's going that way too, that's not separated. They're joined.
Right, you just have how many data points? You don't have a lot of data points. I'm not sure if I really trust this area. We don't have data. See that? See the area? So it may not be discontinuous as you imagine.
I'm sure there's more to the story.
Yeah.
But initially I was thinking it was totally isolated, and I'm like, that's not isolated. It's connected. There may be some, offsets. But
did you do any well tests near here, near this fault?
No, we didn't do a test. Well, we did. We tested 1.5.
This one and
do you see any boundary effect when you look at the drawdown data? Do you see drawdown going significantly higher than Casper prediction? Going faster? Yeah. But that tell you something about nearby fault being transmissive or not transmissive.
How long was that test?
It was a week.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing anything on that. I'd literally have to go back and read the notes.
I remember from these two, we know this one is not a barrier.
Not a barrier, okay, because you didn't. Well,
how long will test? 1-2. A week.
We observe from, when we do these two tests, we observe from here, but not a huge drawdown from here.
But when you did pump this well, you observed drawdown here?
Not a lot.
Not a lot, but some?
Some.
Okay.
I remember.
I don't remember.
The next step, once you start looking at dynamic data, you will pay really close attention to these.
So this is the observation data from the 1.5 test we had. We were looking at 2.2 and 1.2. And it's not even flat.
It's flat?
But
Okay.
again, this is, that's a 20 foot. That's 20 foot. These are 5s. So anyway, slice it. It was minimal if anything, over a week.
Yeah.
Well, the week, maybe the drawdown hasn't reached that point. It's also possible.
I think from here to here
You
you
should
can
have
see
done a
slightly
30-day pumping
drawdown.
test, Mark.
What?
30-day pumping test.
Kevin, we need more money on all our testing for now.
Zach, we can say something
We need
about
more money for drilling, for testing.
Submit an application by
Geophysics.
October 1st.
Only $1,000
Tell
bucks, right?
everybody.
Yeah.
I think you
Okay.
can see a little drawdown here from that.
This is like water level. What's the depth water level? So
Which
water
one is
level.
that? That's Lone Tree number 1.
Oh, okay.
So that's even farther north.
Yeah. But I think these two are not, and these two are not very hydraulically connected.
Yeah, we didn't see any influence on these 3.
But this one is not a barrier because I think
Well, we tested this one.
and you observe from.
And we observed that one.
And
We
1.5.
could only observe in the ones we had drilled. And when we did 3.1, the only one we had at the time was that one. Because we did that one, that one, that one. That was the sequence. That one first, that one second, that one third, and 1.5 last.
Yeah, when you did this one, you didn't observe any response. Could be just time is not long enough
Could be.
to really reach the fault.
Much like when we did the 30-day test up here on Lone Tree number 1, we didn't see any response at Granite Springs because 30 days wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And that's always the question. And everybody who does anything wants to know how long you have to pump and how much money is that going to cost.
Yeah.
It's always an unknown.
Oh yeah.
Hi there.
No, we're on the billboard. We're on the billboard.
We're just across here looking.
Yeah, that's a challenge. Incomplete.
Yeah, so you were
No
asking
perfect
about which
data.
wells are completed in Casper. The wells that are, the domestic wells that are on this map at the time we did the investigation, these are the ones I thought were Casper. Because I used these 5 for top of Casper to help with making this map. So instead of 6 data points, Feng Yu, I had 11.
Okay.
Okay.
Can we get the pumping
logs.
rate of these?
Pumping rates of the logs?
The
Well, the pumping rates, see, these are the permit numbers.
Yeah.
okay.
So if you go to the Wyoming State Engineer's office, you can get their
Oh.
pumping rates. But it's their permitted rate. And typically a permitted pumping rate for a domestic well is 25 gallons a minute. But that's way more than what they would typically use.
Okay.
A house,
So
for me, let's just say for me, at my house, I use 50 gallons a day in wintertime. And they don't have yards up here, so that's probably a legit thing. So if you've got 4 people in a house, it's 200 gallons they probably use in a day.
Yeah. So it's converted to minutes. Very
Ballpark.
small.
Would you agree?
Which means what they
I'm
permit
interested
for
in
is
the
not what they're using,
deformational-
and the using is probably much smaller. They don't require them to
like-
meter
it's
the
like-
wells.
I mean, when this salient moved, this wrapped. But this broke here.
Right.
So,
Yeah, did this happen first and then this
Yeah, right.
offset later?
right.
Okay.
It's like, you know, the major thrust was here. Was this an after shoot? I mean, because you
it
have,
broke here and it broke here.
right. It's almost like there was something that was pushing it this way, but then the sense of movement deflected. And it's like it went that way and then boom, boom. And actually in this case, this whole thing moved out. Remember? Because this is, no. Maybe I have that backwards. This one still drives me nuts. See, I show that as being this out.
That in.
Right.
So it's like
Yeah, it's this way. Because this Casper outcrop is closer than that one. That's what I was looking at for that sense of movement.
Or that way.
Well, this is back. It's that sense. Up here, it's this sense.
Okay.
So
yeah.
it's the same
So it's like.
It's both. They're both
Okay, I
moving that way.
Yeah.
Just different places. It's like it broke here and then it broke that way.
Okay.
So something, it's almost like the block or whatever was pushing it was moving this way, but then its sense of where the force was coming from changed and it pushed in different places. when that happened, and I don't know, there's a hell of an earthquake out here whenever this happened, so earthquakes. Been a very dangerous place to be.
Really? The earthquakes here?
Millions of years ago.
Oh, you millions years ago?
Whenever it happened, there was
Yeah.
a lot of energy that got dissipated.
Not recently.
Not recently, okay.
Right.
So you're talking about when the faults were
Yeah.
created?
Yeah, I just
The
talked about,
force make the whole thing shift.
you know, because clearly you've got, you know, if Casper was here, the uplift came up, Casper got eroded, these things were moving. I don't know, gosh, I can't, whatever. Geohistory is beyond my pay grade.
Geohistory.
It's all speculation. Oh man. So anyway, so that's why I thought, okay, we're up here, and I looked around, I'm like, wow, this is a really good spot. So let's go back down and let's start looking at the Duck Creek side. So we basically kind of covered the Lone Tree
Okay.
area.
Compartment.
Yeah. Well, maybe not a compartment. Area.
Area. That's why I